Okay, so I've drawn a square in green.
Yep.
And we have our cube here.
Alright, so square has 4 edges, and then it'll go to 12. It goes to 12 when it's a cube.
Okay. So we have to figure out how 4 becomes 12.
Well, you can multiply by 3.
12.
You could. There's a lot of ways you can make 4 become 12. You can square 4 and then subtract 4 away from the square.
That's true.
Or you could just multiply by 3.
Yep.
Well, each of these edges. Each of these edges gets 3 more edges put on it. But the edges will overlap each other.
I don't know. I don't understand what you mean.
So to make
each of the edges.
To make this go from 2 to 3 dimensions, you have to sort of pull this up.
Okay.
And that would make a copy of this. I'll just look at this side.
A
copy of this edge that's higher up.
Right.
And then 2 new edges here and here.
Okay.
But those edges will overlap each other.
Ah, okay. But this is this. So before you were saying there's lots of ways 4 becomes 12, but there aren't lots of ways a square turns into a cube. So what happens? Can you tell me how do you turn the square into a cube?
You take the square and you pull it up. You pull it up, and then you create these new edges here, and you fill in the area in the middle.
Okay. So I have a square, and let's pretend it turned into this cube.
Yeah.
Tell me, the edges in this square that's drawn right here on the page, on the whiteboard, what edges do those correspond to in the cube?
So like I'll say this orange space here would correspond to this edge. And it has this edge made this edge, that edge, and that edge.
Okay, but I'm just saying only this square right now. So let's back up. I don't think you understood what I was asking. This square, how does it turn into a cube?
You pull up the square.
Okay. So this square, right now, only that square, only that one. What edges does that square, as it is right now, correspond to on the cube that we just made?
I'd say it would correspond to the bottom 4 edges here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it would either correspond to the bottom or the top, just depending on how you looked at it.
All right. What do you want to choose? Bottom or top?
I'll say top.
You say this square corresponds to the top. Okay.
All right.
What do I do then? What do I do with the square to turn it into the cube?
So you make a copy.
No, I'm asking your brother.
So you make. I guess you sort of divide. You don't divide it. You make another version of it. You pull that up and you
Okay.
make the edges.
So when you pull it up, so there's now a mythical square above here. What edges on the cube does that correspond to?
Well, actually, that would correspond to the top.
Okay. So what do you want to make the one that's on the whiteboard right now?
The bottom.
The bottom. Okay. And when you pull it up, it makes the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's these edges on the sides that when you extend lines down, the corners touch.
Okay. So where did those new edges? First of all, how many new edges are there then that got created when we lifted up the square?
So there's these 4 here, and then there's the ones at the top.
Okay. So the ones on the top kind of already existed because
Yeah.
we were just lifting up the square.
Yeah.
So how many new ones got created?
4.
Okay. Where did they come from?
They're a result of the sliding.
Okay. What were they in the previous square?
I guess they were these sort of the vertices.
Okay.
And they just came as a result of a sliding.
All right.
So I guess you could look at it, you created more copies and you just kept the area that when you slid up, you kept the area and you stopped.
Okay.
and it created these vertices from the corners sliding.
Right. So, as you said at the beginning, there are lots of ways 4 could become 12.
Yeah.
How did 4 become 12?
So here 4 became 12 because we made a copy of this cube to create an additional 4.
Copy of
or
what?
The copy of the square to create an additional 4 vertices, and then when we split up the copy, we created 4 more vertices as a result of the sliding.
Okay. So how did 4 become 12?
We added 8 to it.
Well, each of the sides
Uh-huh.
became 2 sides,
All right.
and each of the vertices became a side, or an edge rather.
Okay. Great.
So,
So 4 became 12 how?
well, you doubled it and then added 4.
Ah.
Double and added 4.
Okay, in this case we doubled because each edge became 2 edges, the bottom and the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we
then
added the number of vertices.
and we added the number of vertices. So let's do this for a cube turning into a hypercube.
Alright.